CBS News aired an investigation in January into the Wounded Warrior Project, one of the nation's most recognizable veterans charities. According to a review of tax filings by Charity Navigator, the Wounded Warrior Project spends just 60% of its donations on veterans programs, but the project says that figure is closer to 80%. How the charity spent its money became the subject of our investigation.
I began to see how an organization that rakes in hundreds of millions of dollars a year is not helping my brothers and my sisters, or at least not all of them.
CBS News spoke with more than 40 former employees who described a charity with out-of-control spending on itself.
It was extremely extravagant. Dinners and alcohol.
And straying from its mission to empower and support wounded veterans.
A lot of the warriors that I saw needed mental health treatment. They don't get that from Wounded Warrior Project.
The reports on the charity's spending even became fodder on the campaign trail.
Wounded Warriors is not on the list of the 22 you're giving to. Why not?
I saw some stories, I think on CBS actually, and I think I want to give it a little pause until we find out whether or not that stuff is correct.
The Wounded Warrior Project fired its CEO 2 months later. The charity's board chairman, Anthony Odierno, spoke with us about the decision.
Based on our own experiences and based on the review that we did as a board, we felt it was best for the organization to make a change in the leadership.
The Wounded Warrior Project has since hired a new CEO, retired Army Lieutenant General Michael Linnington. Until recently, he led American efforts to locate prisoners of war and troops missing in action from past conflicts. He served in both Iraq and Afghanistan, and he has 35 years of military experience. We should note a CBS corporate executive sits on the charity's board. Lieutenant General Linnington, welcome. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks for having me on.
You saw some of what CBS News exposed. It led to you being put in this role. When you first came in, what did you see? What did you want to change?
Well, first, thanks for having me on. And really, when I watched those shows, that's what really caused me to seek this opportunity, because
you sought out the opportunity.
I saw firsthand the results of Wounded Warrior Project and other nonprofits in changing the lives of our wounded service members. So when asked, I fought my way to the top, and there were a lot of folks interested, and I'm very lucky and honored to be here.
I know one of the big changes you've made thus far is an investment in mental health services. Our investigation found that that was lacking to a degree. You mentioned perhaps our investigation spurred your interest. Did you make that change in response to it?
Wounded Warrior has always been committed to the signature wounds of this war, which is treating those service members with post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injuries. Even with the reorganization that was announced yesterday, we're doubling down on those efforts, because indeed that need is great and growing. We're growing by 1,500 to 2,000 warriors a month today, and most of those warriors are coming to us to seek help for those illnesses.
The investigation also found that the organization was spending a lot of money on luxury hotels, et cetera. What has changed now, especially now that you guys are still spending about $75 million when it comes to fundraising? Do you plan to cut down in that area as well?
Yeah, so we're not doing any of those large offsites anymore. I mean, that's not what's important to us. What we're going to focus on is the warriors. I will tell you that raising public awareness to the needs of this generation of service members is important. So we do have to continue to invest.
But $75 million, that's
well,
we're
taking a look at all that. At the end of the day, the structural changes we made yesterday are focused on maximizing the impact on those we serve. This generation of warriors needs our best efforts, and that's where we're going in the future.
This generation, though, is growing, and yet you laid off much of the executive board, nearly half the workforce. How is it then that a reduced staff can help these numbers that are only climbing?
Yeah, so what we did was we really focused on the surveys we got from our alumni, those warriors we've served, and there's more than 90,000 of them that are in our ranks. And in fact, I spoke with them extensively over the past 5 weeks, the entire 5 weeks I've been on the job, and we're focusing on the areas that they need the most help. So what we've done is streamline the staff, reduce our unnecessary footprint, brick and mortar, out in communities around the country. We haven't discharged all those folks. In fact, most of them didn't spend much time in their offices anyway. They were out in the communities where they should be. So we're trying to maximize what we do across communities. And most importantly, we're hoping to partner even more with outside organizations, nonprofits, the VA and others to deliver this important need to our service
What's the
members.
first step to regaining the public's trust?
I
Have
think
you
it's-
done it?
I think it's transparency. I think it's transparency. It's accountability. It's what I'm doing today is pledging to everyone my best efforts, our best efforts to squeeze every nickel of every donor dollar into programs that matter for the Warriors. And yesterday was the first step of many steps the organization has taken over the last 6 months. And we'll continue to do the best we can to the utmost of our ability.
General, I think this investigation happened because there were many people inside veterans who were worried about the waste, fraud, and abuse. But the Wounded Warrior Project has done so many great things over the years. I mean, explain some of the projects that you want to enhance and make sure that more veterans have access to.
I speak to warriors all the time. The last 5 weeks, I've met great warriors like Luke Murphy and Andrew Coughlin. These are warriors that fought in our nation's wars, came home, needed help. Wounded Warrior Project was there for them. And it was engagement events with them that got them connected to other warriors. And by the way, that's where the resilience starts. And then that engagement, that camaraderie yields, connection to other programs like mental health programs, long-term support care for those most grievously wounded in combat. Wounded Warrior serves more than 600 wounded warriors in their homes with their families where healing is enhanced in a loving environment. Those are the kind of projects we're not coming away from. And in fact, we're going to double down on those in the future and then just hope to regain that trust through transparency and accountability.
All right.
Great
Thank
to
you
have
so
you
much
here.
for coming in.
Thanks for
Yeah.
staying on.
Good luck.
Thanks, Nora.